The mist in Coventry doesn't just settle, it clings to the cobblestones like a forgotten memory. For Arthur, the world was the size of a basement shop on Eldon Lane. It was a place where the air tasted of cedar shavings and aged leather, and the only music was the rhythmic tap, tap, tap of a cobbler's hammer. Arthur was 70, with fingers that looked like the gnarled roots of an English oak. He didn't measure time by years, but by the souls he had mended. In a world of fast fashion and disposable plastic, Arthur was a relic. He lived in a small flat above the shop with his grandson, Leo. Leo's parents were gone, victims of a restless wind that took them to the city and never brought them back. Arthur never spoke of the pain. He simply polished Leo's school shoes every Sunday night until they shone like black glass. Leo's cathedral wasn't the one with the stained glass in the city center. It was the local library. It was a Victorian building with drafty windows and a scent of vanilla-scented paper. While other boys in the estate played football in the rain, Leo sat in the corner of the history section. Arthur would watch him from the shop window as Leo walked past, his backpack heavy with borrowed books. Arthur wanted to give Leo a world that wasn't covered in coal dust or leather scraps. He began to save, not in a bank, but in an old biscuit tin hidden behind a row of wooden shoe lasts. Every pound earned from a heel repair was a brick in the invisible house he was building for Leo's future. The recession hit the Midlands like a North Sea gale. People stopped bringing in shoes for repair. They simply threw them away or wore them until they fell apart. The basement shop grew cold. Arthur's hands began to shake, the arthritis biting deep into his joints during the damp winter nights. Leo noticed the thinner stews and the way Arthur kept his coat on inside the house. One afternoon, Leo found the biscuit tin. It was nearly empty. He realized that for every book he had read, Arthur had skipped a meal. The guilt was a heavy, cold stone in Leo's chest. He took his favorite possession, a rare first edition of a history book his teacher had given him, and walked to the pawn shop. Why learn about the past, Leo thought, if the present is starving? 3 days later, the owner of the pawn shop, a stern man named Mr. Henderson, walked into Arthur's cobbler shop. He didn't bring shoes. He brought the book. "A lad sold this to me," Henderson said, placing it on the workbench. "He said he didn't need it anymore, but I saw him crying when he walked out." Arthur looked at the book, then at his gnarled hands. He realized he had been so busy mending shoes that he hadn't seen the sole of his grandson breaking. That night, Arthur didn't work. He sat Leo down. "Leo," he said, his voice like rust on a gate, "I don't mend shoes so you can sell your mind to keep me warm. I mend them so your feet can carry you where mine never could." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his gold pocket watch, the only thing his own father had left him. "Sell this. Buy your books. We are a family of builders, not sellers." 15 years later, a sleek car pulled onto the cracked pavement of Eldon Lane. A man stepped out, checking his watch. A simple, sturdy piece, not gold, but precise. It was Leo. He was now an architect, the man who designed the new glass and steel library in the city center. He walked into the basement shop. It was no longer a shop. It was a small museum of craft preserved by a local heritage trust Leo had funded. He sat at his grandfather's old bench and picked up the hammer. He didn't see leather scraps. He saw the foundation of his entire life. He walked to the cemetery on the hill overlooking the city. He didn't bring flowers. He brought a pair of shoes he had made himself, perfectly crafted, polished to a mirror shine. He placed them by the headstone. "The path was long, Granddad," Leo whispered, "but the shoes held up."
If you enjoyed this journey from the streets of Coventry, please let me know in the comments. Do stories of silent sacrifice resonate with you? Don't forget to like, subscribe to Stories by DC, and hit the bell so you never miss a new narration. Until next time, keep your own story moving forward.